Well, we're continuing on in our one another series, these devotional series. Just as a side note, I also want to encourage you to pray for me today as I start my first Good News Club for the year. So I'd appreciate that as well. Well, Romans 12:10, we're going to look at honoring one another. In Romans 12, we see in the whole chapter that we are God's children in his family, and we are to practically worship God by living for him, not according to the world's standards, but according to God's standards, not according to the world, which devalues life and lives for self. Rather, we are a united body, a family that is to think of one another above ourselves. So how do we do that? Romans 12:10 says, love one another with brotherly affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. So we see, first of all, that genuine love has a family love for one another. Affection marks a one another relationship. So how do we value one another with God's endowed dignity? First, love one another with brotherly affection. And we have two different words for love here: Philadelphia, which is brotherly love, and Philostorge, which is more family love. Agape, you can say, is like the highest love, devoted and sacrificially committed to one another and dedicated to love even when you do not feel like it. But phileo love has feelings and emotion attached to it. Agape and phileo are both needed in the church of God. For God has not called us to be some type of stoic soldiers like, oh yes, I just have to love you even if I don't feel like it. No, we're supposed to have affection tied to this type of love. So Philadelphia, friendship love is committed to one another as if they are siblings, tied with Philostorge, that truly cherishes one another with a deep bond. And so there ought to be this type of intimacy in the church, this family connection within the church, almost like a genuine and natural affection for one another because we are truly family. So I believe in the original here, you could say we are to show that deep friendship bond to one another through family affection. But also, moving on in the verse, genuine love shows honor to one another. Honor is actually putting others first. So here we dive a little further into dignity and value that we are to have and to show to one another as God's redeemed family. First, look at the word honor. It's the word time in Greek, and literally means to value, and has a price fixed to it and respect fixed to it, as if you're measuring it according to a valuation. And so here what it's saying is I am supposed to value you highly. I am to show that you are precious to me, that you're of high value in my heart. I esteem you a lot. And there have been different translations of this verb or action in the verse, the word outdo. Another translation could mean to prefer. But in the original, it also has a preposition pro in it, which suggests to go before, to eagerly take the lead by example. And taking the lead here is not to show off, but to give preference to one another. You see, in outdoing and showing honor, we're not to think of ourselves and the recognition that we're going to receive. Rather, I don't want any recognition. It is that I truly love this person that I have a deep bond with, and I value that person highly, and therefore I want to show that valuation in a big way. So I'm going to end with this. I'm going to leave you with this. Family gives affectionate preference. Again, family gives affectionate preference. So I'm going to encourage you this week. How can you, in the relationships you have, especially in the church, how can you truly show honor to one another, both with agape and Philadelphia love? Thank you for joining me.